You're listening to Truth, Wellness, and Psychic Adventures with Kristin and Polly, only on LA Talk Radio.
Good morning. Welcome to Truth, Wellness, and Psychic Adventures. Hello, I'm Kristin. This is Polly.
Hello. Hello, everybody. Kristin and just the world at large, right?
the world at large, indeed. Did you know it is a blue moon?
I did know that, actually.
And
I'm very excited about it.
Okay, so I didn't know until a little bird told me. But also, did you know that the phrase "once in a blue moon" indicates that, in fact, a blue moon is rare? It's the second full moon in the month. And because it's so rare, the phrase "once in a blue moon" is applicable. And I did not know that until I did the old Google Roni search.
So interesting. Well, it's also a supermoon. And so the supermoon brings it closer to the earth. And I believe right now, like tonight, it's even more extraordinary because I believe you can see the moon and Saturn. Saturn is actually close enough that and the moon is close enough, so you can see the moon and Saturn tonight. So don't quote me on that, but I will say I'm 80% sure that tonight you can see the moon and Saturn, which is pretty cool.
I feel like I'm one telescope shy of having a beautiful experience with the
You don't even, I don't think you need, it's with the naked eye.
Really? Or my
Yeah, I think you can do it.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna
get naked and you can do it. Everybody go down to the beach.
That can be applicable to a variety of activities in life.
Yes.
But that's neither here nor there.
Yes, but it works. Okay, so let's talk about what's the energy of this moon, this full moon, which you think of illumination, right? Like things coming up. It's
Totally.
the Pisces full moon.
Which is a romantic sign.
Yeah, very emotional, very psychic. It can also dwell in the substance abuse area. I'll just put it like that. Like artistic. Yeah, like, the beautiful sign of Pisces. I'm a Pisces. The beautiful side is like, you're psychic, you're artistic, blah, blah, blah. But it's also a tendency to go into those substance abuse areas.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. See, that I didn't know about Pisces. I always, in my mind, was like, they're sensitive, they're spiritual, they're intuitive.
But they're also alcoholics. No.
But they also like drink on. Hey, there's no judgment there, The Pisces moon. Whoop, hang on, I'm dropping my pen. It's also very much about unconditional love.
I like that.
Which is also linked in a little bit with substance abuse because there's just no parameters, no boundaries, and it's all kind of thing.
Interesting way to look at unconditional love.
Oh yeah.
Wait, because to me that sounds like it's more God, what is it? I'm saying bipolar love. That is not it. What is it when you have the codependency? Oh. Right? I would say codependency is like a substance abuse, but unconditional love is just like loving uninterrupted.
I kind of want to use the term bipolar love more often now that you.
I do kind of like that.
I do too. I'm like, I just went to a bunch of relationships that I know, and I'm like, oh gosh, does that fall under the umbrella of bipolar love? Maybe.
I think there's a blog coming out of that. Okay, so here energetically is what this energy feels like to me. So I love the moon. I love the full moon. It can be a little disruptive to our sleep. But what this reminds me of is illuminating, like it really is illuminating our garden, so to speak, and what weeds need to pull out, right? Like what needs to shift, what needs a little bit more care, what needs to be pulled out. But what's interesting to me is it feels like it's really easy. Like as you have this illumination and you're deciding, okay, I'm going to pull this turnip out. It no longer works. As you go to pull the turnip out of the ground, you have leverage, you're pulling it out. and then it kind of gets stuck. So you can only pull it out at a certain level. And there's something about it taking, like, this moon is asking us to take commitment. Like, it's not just like this easy breezy, like, okay, I'm releasing this. This is committing to the release of what no longer serves you. Like, you're going to have to take an action step to release what no longer serves you. It's not just this, like, wish it away, be gone.
That's not good news for me. I was planning on releasing this full moon. So
there's going to be some things that you have to take action steps. And so maybe that's the piece, is like, you'll be illuminated on what the action steps are, because to be honest, I don't think that we're going to be able to have this illumination and discover what the action steps are. But you certainly can see where the pull is, where the rub is, like what needs, and figure out in the next few weeks, what do I need to do to release this?
Do you feel like it's the energy for this one is more like kind of giving attention to what we've been avoiding?
Maybe, but I think it's just like, to me, it reminds me of just just everything becomes apparent.
Oh.
Just everything just becomes like so apparent. And so you really, and look, here's the other thing they're showing me is, like, it's not like you can choose, like, say everything is apparent. You see the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it's not like you can tackle everything at once, right? But there will be one or two big things that you're like, oh my God, they are really bringing this imbalance into the garden.
Okay.
Right. And how am I going to, like, do I need to get the tractor out to get the turnabout of the garden? Like, it's that big.
Wow. So truly illuminating is the word. Like, it will just be obvious what needs to go.
Yeah. But it's also, right, like, it's very emotional work. It's so emotional work. It's very emotional, very Piscean, and intuitive, right? Because we have to be able to see and feel our way through this. It's not logic.
Right. And then once again, it's that trust factor, because when it's scary and when it gets big and when there's an action step and it's emotional, I personally go, I fear creeps up real hard and heavy. So then I have to go back to trust, and that this is going to be okay. And yes, this needs to go. And yes, I'll take an action step. And yes, it might be emotional, but all's well at the end of the day.
You know what's so interesting is I've had so many clients that are right here. They're right here. Like, they have this big, I don't know why I'm calling it a turnip, but this big turnip.
I love it. I'm here for turnip.
This big turnip, and it's like, they know. I mean, I'm not kidding you. It's so interesting. Like, they're right there, and they're just like, they just want the reassurance of what's on the other side. And who doesn't?
Right?
Who doesn't? I mean, who doesn't want to know that once you pull this big old thing out of the ground, that you're not going to have this void?
Yeah.
And like you said, trust.
Yeah.
Trust.
You might feel the void, but it gets better and it quickly fills, and something even more fantastic.
Yeah, it's that unknown. But my goodness, is it not one of the biggest lessons in our life?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It truly is, to be able to take a step with, and not just a step, but a big one, really turning up the soil, releasing lots of stuff, and knowing I'm going to be okay on the other side of this. It's a biggie.
It is. When you said take a step, like, there's two different steps that came to my mind. The first one is, like, if you're getting into, the kids do this in the summer, like when they're getting into the ocean and they do like a little tick, 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 like little sideways to avoid stingrays. Like, that's how I like to step into things. Or massive long jump in a track meet, just launch and land. And that is a different kind of step. So I tend to go with the shuffle step with the stingray, like, oh, it's just a little bit and everything's going to be okay. There's got to be a happy medium where I can just take a normal step and trust that all is well.
Sometimes I just like to take a big breath and just do it.
I know, you're good at that.
Oh, but not, It could be a lot better.
Well, there's always room for improvement. But I think you know what though, you have a good sense of trust in the universe.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I mean, yes, I have a crazy sense of trust in the universe.
Why?
And I guess
Is it faith or
I don't know. I mean, I think it's just kind of the way I'm wired.
yeah?
I just have this crazy sense of trust in the universe. And then it's easy for me to, like, if I have to begin again, or if I have to if I have to change course, like that doesn't, it goes back to, like, I'm not one of those people that likes a bunch of food in the pantry, that like that stuff kind of stresses me out. I'd rather have much less.
Yes.
So I know it's so bizarre, but I guess I feel like I make a clean getaway. Put all my stuff in my car. I don't know.
Throw the lentils in the car with the turnip and the carrots, and let's get out of here. We're done.
Oh my God, that's so funny. So funny. Okay, let's talk about something more serious besides the garden.
Okay.
Okay, I'm interested in this concept. So we all make promises, right? We make pinky promises. We make promises like, I promise I'll always be there for you, whatever. But what do you think? Well, and even promises like marriage is a promise, right? Having a kid is a promise. So, and even beyond, like, if we believe that before we rolled into this life, we promised to carry on, to perhaps help others on their journey.
Yeah.
In this life, right? Maybe we partner with somebody that we're helping them on their journey and vice versa. So what do you think any of those are sacred contracts, so to speak? I know they're promises, but are any of them sacred contracts? And what makes a pinky promise, like a real true pinky promise,
I know,
any less whatever than I promise to love you forever?
The intention behind it, but also trust. So here are my two thoughts. The promise becomes more intense when it's spoken, and when you are quite clear and say, I promise this.
I do like that.
That seems very straightforward. But if we are, and this is, bigger concepts, but if we are up in heaven plotting our next course of life, like reincarnation vibes, and we have like a soul family that we're making a plan with, and like, okay, I promise to help you learn forgiveness, you promise to help me learn integrity, and we just make all these promises. Then we come down and we live life, and it's not easy, and there's pain and healing and all that. We still have to stick with the promise that we made, because that was more of a divine, all-knowing, higher self functioning, thinking, purposeful promise, even though it stinks for us down here. So that didn't answer your question at all. Fully aware of that.
No, I agree with you, but here's the interesting aspect of it, is I totally agree with you, but I also recognize that at some point the lessons are done. At some point we have learned a lesson, and so at some point we have to shift the energy of that sacred contract. Like, we have to, even if it's just like, okay, you brought me to this point, but maybe the other person is not ready to shift the energy, because they still need to learn the lesson on their end. Very interesting, right?
Totally. Hey, who is the author that wrote that series, Conversations with God?
Oh, Neil Donald Walsh. Love him.
He does a chapter on, like, he'd been married a few times. Because when you're saying that's what I thought of when you were like, one is done, one is not. He had been married a few times, and he does this one thing. And okay, so background is he was an individual going through struggles in his life. He'd been highs and lows. He'd been homeless. He'd been a raging success. And he got to a place where he was so frustrated. In the middle of the night, he woke up and he just started yelling at God, like, what are you doing? And why are you hurting me? What am I supposed to do? And he had this yellow legal pad, and he started like hearing God. So that's why Conversations with God is the name of his book series. So he's writing down things that he's, I don't know, is channeling the right word? Yeah, he's channeling things from God, straight from God. So as his books progress, and he's got a series, one of the chapters as he goes along is on marriage, and he is marrying his wife. Now, I don't know if it actually came to be in a church with all the ordained things, but the channel he got from God, like on the wedding vows, was so like what you're saying. It was very much like, I pledge to be there for you and help you with your lessons until it's no longer a service to us.
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful.
It was so practical and like purposeful and meaningful, but also
Oh my
like
God, but like, oh my
real.
God, that's so powerful though, because honestly, like any sacred contract that we come into, like saying that we do this as long as it's neat, as long as it's balanced, or as long, like put something like that. I love that because
Yeah.
there's growth along the way, right?
Right. There's so much growth and there's so much purpose. So when you come together with someone, and we're all in each other's lives for a specific reason, I think.
Mm-hmm.
We are testing, we are giving, we are guiding, we are supporting, all the good stuff. And so when you come into someone's life with purpose, then once, like you said, once that lesson is learned, then you have to, someone told me this once, you hold a friendship or a relationship in an open hand. So when that person comes into your life, there they are, very willingly to reside. And then there's never this grasp,
Cool.
this
Yeah.
around. They're able to come in and out. And it doesn't have to be a bitter end. It can just be a progression on.
Love it. I love it. I love this. That's so great. And honestly, perhaps that's the goal of every relationship and every sacred contract, right? Is that it's a contract, but it's held in love and not the tight fist.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
so.
I love that.
But you have to, like you said too, you have to, there's a certain amount of honoring that it's, anytime there's two people involved, you cannot control, predict, or manage how someone else is going to receive the situation that's there. Like some people are elevating quickly, grabbing the lesson, ready to move on. You know, they've got different dispositions, different goals, different limitations.
Oh yeah.
If friendship, a marriage, a relationship, anything ends and it's time to move on, some people have, because of, you know what it could be? Because of like a goodbye that happened early on in their childhood that
Oh, absolutely.
young, then they have this thing, and there's always got to be a bad guy when
Mhm.
relationships part ways. And that can
Absolutely.
be very limiting as an adult.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, so much of what we went through as a kid, that's the foundation of how we move through our relationships.
Oh, totally.
It's
Yeah. We spend our adulthood undoing the damage our parents did to us.
but to be fair to our parents, and we're parents, right? It's not an easy task, right? Bringing children into the world and raising them in a way. Is it possible to even raise a child where they thrive in all areas, forever? I don't think so, because they come in with their own lessons, just like we did. We
Yes.
do.
And they chose us specifically to assist with these lessons.
And
So
they knew we were crazy as hell.
yes. Like I was like, yeah, I should remind mine on the daily. Look, you chose me. You don't remember choosing this hot mess, but you did.
True enough.
You're welcome for all these lessons.
Oh my goodness. It's so interesting to me. Okay, so so I've been thinking about sacred contracts, and as you know, I do my best thinking when I'm out on the trail. So I was out tromping on the trail yesterday, and I also do some good thinking when I'm leaving a Pilates class also, but I do my best thinking when I'm tromping out on the trail. So I was out there, and it's hot, so there's not as much wildlife, not very many spider webs and stuff. The desert doesn't have that many spider webs anyhow. But anyhow, tromping on the trail, and nobody's out there. And the trail where I was, it's pretty overgrown. It's like more of an animal trail than a people trail. But there was a single spider web that was stretched, just one single strand stretched across. And unkind of me. I just tromped through it, tore it apart. Well, it was a single thread. I just walked through it. But it made me think, how easy is it to break these karmic ties? Is it as easy as just like walking through the spider web, right? Like, how easy is it to break the ties? Because I actually do believe it's easier than we think. But then it also made me think, okay, so we can break these ties, but what happens to the intention of that? What happens to the power? Like, there was so much put into these karmic ties, these karmic structures, and when they're broken, I don't believe that it just all immediately transforms into something else, right? So I do believe that we have this intention, perhaps going, looking for another place to land. I don't know. It's really interesting to think.
It is. And part of me really hopes that it's easier to break than I think, because
I
I
think it is.
just assumed like, oh, this will be a beast.
Oh,
And
no.
so much, because a lesson always sounds looming and, like, oh, heavy to me.
Yeah.
Not exactly joyful, but maybe, that's just my stereotype of it. So a karmic lesson sounds like, oh boy, here we go again. Like,
it's a lifelong karmic lesson. Listen, A, I believe in miracles. B, I believe it's as easy as walking through a spider web, a one single strand to break a karmic lesson. Because you know how I think you do it? I think you do it through rewiring your subconscious.
really?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
well, I think you have to do it on a spiritual level, but I think if you rewire your subconscious on a spiritual level, so I do believe that takes prayer. I do believe it takes intention. I do believe that it takes the intention of saying what you are declaring that you want in this life. And perhaps you have to declare what you're free of.
yeah. And I think sometimes sometimes things that sting aren't fun to think about or relive. And so we try to push them out and just kind of compartment. So maybe we're not recognizing, and by we, I mean me, maybe I'm not recognizing like my karmic debt fully. So it's hard for me to really isolate that and say, okay, that's something that's been haunting me. So now I'm going to go ahead and rewire, release, and reframe my thoughts on that.
Well, what's like a lesson? What do you believe one of your big lessons is?
Probably forgiveness.
Okay.
I'm not good at that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Pick another one. We're not going to do that one. That didn't get a good enough charge. Sorry.
Okay. I don't know. What do you feel anything?
Let me see. I like forgiveness for you, but I don't think it's that hard.
Okay.
I mean, you kind of push things aside. Okay. Here's what I would say. I would say it's letting go.
You know what, Polly? You are not wrong.
Because it's not forgiveness. It's that you don't want to let go. Like, because you can forgive, it's the letting go. And then it kind of becomes intertwined and becomes that turnip that we were talking about earlier.
It was dark.
It's because they intertwine, the not letting go and not forgiving, but also not forgiving yourself. So it's three pieces intertwining, creating this root.
Yes.
To be pulled out. So there you go.
And the Pisces blue moon is perfect for releasing anger, forgiving yourself and forgiving others and letting go. Yeah. So it's my moment to shine.
This is. Okay, so I love it. And it's literally like being roots. Like they've come together and create these roots that are just digging in. So there you go. You get to come up with how are you going to release? And I love bringing in God. I love trust. I mean, here's the big trust. Like, help me. How can we say that? Because there has to be also a sense of allowing allow the unraveling of what I've been holding on to so tightly.
Yes. And remove
Right.
the obstacle keeping me from fully releasing.
But you have to phrase it in a way that feels like, as you say it, it is shifting and releasing, right? Because if you say it in a forceful way, then that brings, that holds tight, right? Like if you say it in a forceful way, like, damn it, I'm letting this go, you're not letting anything
While I'm gripping it tightly.
go. Damn it, I'm done with you.
All right. This is a good focal point for today. I'm totally focusing on that tonight. Like when
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
God, you know I've got mine.
What are you doing for your full moon, blue moon, Pisces moon?
I'm going to do some writing tonight.
Yeah.
I'm going to do some writing, and actually, a relationship that I'm in, we are actually using this moon of illumination to really uncover what we want for each other and for ourselves.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And really to look at it, not just like, okay, this is what we have going on right now, but look in the future. And perhaps, of course, look in the back, like what needs to, in the past, what needs to be released, what is like churning up this uncomfortable right now. So really deep diving into the long scope of the relationship.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so we might be at it for a few hours or days.
I was
or
like,
weeks.
that's deep. That'll be a task.
We might be at it until Monday. I don't know.
I want a full report next week. This will be good.
True enough. Yeah, so I'm kind of excited.
Oh, little topic switch. We are taking callers today. So if anyone is out there and would like to call in, it's 323-203-0815. Call in. Let us talk you through releasing some things. Or whatever.
Yes, absolutely. We'll figure out what your turnip is.
I know. Call in. We'll do a full turnip diagnosis and treatment plan. We're not physicians. There we go. There you have it.
You know, okay, there might be people that would prefer us to be, because spirituality is sacred, so they might prefer us to move in a little bit more sacred conversation way as we talk about spirituality versus making jokes about turnips and such. But I do believe having a sense of humor, look at laughing as you do stuff really helps shift energy. So if there's anybody out there thinking these two are goofy and why are they, right, this is a sacred conversation. But if there's anybody listening, this type of conversation actually does help shift energy.
Totally.
Oh.
Caller, you are on the air. Truth, Wellness, and Psychic Adventures. This is Kristen and Polly. How are you? Oh, can I hear you, caller?
Oh, we're going to have to do this telepathically.
Oh, this will be fun.
We just lost the caller, but that would be completely fun.
That would be amazing. All right, I feel like the caller will probably call back. We'll see.
Okay, so what else about, like, okay, if you make a pinky promise with somebody, okay, like with your kids, if you make pinky promises like, yes, I will do X, Y, and Z, does it hurt if you don't follow through? Does it do any damage to either side? Right?
Yeah.
Because
I can say with full experience, yes, it does. Initially, when they're young and you're like, oh, pinky promise. Nope, that stuff they take very seriously. And I quickly learned that is how we do it. And we never promise unless we are 100% able, capable, and committed to following through on both sides.
Okay, love it.
Trust back.
Okay, here's another interesting one. A sacred contract is also if somebody says, pray for me, and then you are praying for them. That becomes a very sacred contract, right?
Totally.
Because you are sending that energy. You're intentionally sending that energy. Both people are in an agreement about it. So there's a lot of different types of sacred contracts.
Which I think one is more serious. Like, it's oftentimes when people are like, okay, so like someone posts on Facebook, like, oh, pray for whatever, and they give you very
Oh,
details, and they're just asking for a prayer.
yeah.
And then people are like, well, I'm praying for you. I'm praying for you. And someone did that just like a couple days ago, and I read it and I thought, oh my gosh, all these people are praying for this one person. Like, there's power in that.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's just words and we don't take it that seriously. But if you really like look at the sacred contract of it all, there is so much power and love and healing in that we don't acknowledge all the time because it's just words.
Maybe that's the piece is the idea of the sacred it's the intention behind the sacred contract, right? It looks like our fearless leader Sam is having problems with the phone line.
Yes.
But it's the power of intention. So it's like having these sacred contracts. It's the power, because we have sacred contracts, I believe, with ourselves to some degree, right?
Totally.
Because
yes.
We put things out there and we want to say how we're receiving. So there's the sacred contract. So it's really interesting. I mean, just life in general is a sacred contract.
What is that book? The Four Agreements. Have you read that?
Right. I have not, but I've read little pieces. I guess every time I see like the little quote, I'm like, yeah, I totally get that. Yes.
I mean, I haven't read it. I've listened to it on Audible. That's my full disclosure. But one of the agreements is be impeccable with your word.
Yes.
Which is the epitome of the first sacred contract with yourself. Like, if I'm going to say something, and it's meaningful and it's true. And we rarely give it a thought, you know?
That's so good. I love that. And I guess that's the piece is like everything. It's like recognizing the holiness, the potential of holiness in everything we do.
Yes.
Right. The potential of power, of the spirituality, of all in everything we do.
Oh, wait, caller is back. Let's see if we can get on here again. Caller, are you there?
Yes. Hi, ladies.
Hi, caller. You're on the air with Kristen and Polly. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Have you been listening in on sacred contracts, blue moons, full moons, and whatnot?
I sure have.
Do you have any specific question for us today?
I do. I have so much going on in my life that I feel like it's just one thing after another. And I just need to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Like, I need to know that everything's going to be okay. It's going to work out. We're headed in a positive direction and not another bad thing's going to happen.
Got it.
Kristen, do you want to pull a card?
Oh, absolutely.
Because that might be fun. Okay, so what they're showing me is, because I know you're saying that you have a lot of stuff going on, but it's almost like you're stepping to the side as everything is just running by you. Like, you know, you can imagine like dogs, cats, kids, work, everything just running by you. Like you've kind of stepped aside and you're not quite sure how to fit back in the mix. Like, okay, now I'm going to re-enter back into this flow. But the other thing that they're showing me, which is interesting, is the flow of all this movement is not necessarily going in a forward motion. So I don't know if you have figured out how to turn it around. It's almost like it's still running backwards to things that used to occur. And so it's I think with some intention of turning it so that you can actually see everything that's happening right now, but with intention, see how it can fit into the future. Because right now it's still running towards the back. It's still being very affected by the past. And so I think it would be cleared up easier and even have power if you could intentionally say, I can use X, Y, and Z. I can move them. You just have to find a way to move everything so it's moving forward and not the past. So release it somehow from the past. And it's like you have to bring new beginnings. You have to shift things. You have to shift the cycles, and you have to get these people, things, occurrences in a new cycle, if that makes sense. Does any of that make sense to you?
It does. It does. I've kind of removed myself from all these problems because I'm always the one in the middle solving everything. And I just need a break. Like, I'm so tired. So what you're seeing, I totally resonate with it because I have stepped to the side and kind of been like, okay, all of you guys fall apart because I need a moment.
Okay, so here's what I would do. I would put something, because you're on the side, you're looking at them going crazy, running backwards. I would put something goal-oriented in the future and turn this around. So very goal-oriented in the future and be like, okay, Susie, or, you know, whoever you're dealing with, kids, whatever, like, look at, we're going to do this in the future. I need you to do X, Y, and Z so we can make this happen. So I think you have to turn it around so it's very goal-oriented and get them shifting around to something in the future, some change in the future, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah, just redirect a little.
Right, because it's very easy for people to, they're using the word flop, which is kind of funny, but it's very easy for people to just, you know, flop back into the old excuses, the old patterns, the old behavior, right? And that's what's going on. It's like, you know, the rut is very well worn in the past. And so they just need, but I don't think it's going to be that hard. I don't think it's going to be that hard to redirect them, FYI.
Okay.
Because they have kind of a happy-go-lucky attitude. Well, a short attention span. That's what I'll say. So I don't think it's going to be that hard.
That could actually be here with that. Okay, so this is funny. Like, we've been talking about the full moon, the blue moon, and here is the card that I pulled, the moon.
Oh,
I love that for you. And illusion is the bottom. So what I'm feeling is big on this is more like feel your way through the situation rather than trust your eyes and what you see. Like, it's more to it, and your instincts are good. Your intuition is on point. And often you push that to the side or you don't acknowledge it, and try, when you're feeling off or when there's an event and it's time for you to react, take a moment and really, like, close your eyes, literally block out. You can't see anything, and go into what you're truly feeling, and then trust that more than what you actually see. It's a huge trust that all's going to be well, but also deep intuition, which you have for sure.
Can you sell? Is there something that you can sell, or are you trying to sell something?
I am, yes, my dad's house.
Okay, because I'm hearing about selling. I do think that that's going to help you, because that's kind of holding you, what's the right word? Hostage isn't quite the right word, but it's weighing heavy on you. And
it
so
is. Very much
selling that house is going to help you.
Okay. Yeah, that's weighing really heavy on me. It's been going on. My dad passed away, so I'm trying to settle all of that.
Yeah. Is it filled with stuff still? Does it still have stuff in it? Yeah, because they're showing me that also. Okay, so this is one thing that I think would help you. Is there, like, you got to clear that out. Is there a way to, I mean, even if you hire people, can you start clearing that out so that it's not so heavy? Because this has become.
Yeah, so I'm almost done with that process. Like, I'm at the finish line. I see it, but things just keep happening that keep going wrong, and it's just not letting me finish strong, basically. So that's one of my biggest struggles right now.
Okay, good. Yeah, because as soon as you get that done, and it also might have a weird water leak. I mean, I've got something going on in my house today, but it might have a weird water leak, like a weird plumbing thing.
It does.
Okay. I mean, it is funny. I do have that in my house, but I do see that in your house. Okay. Yeah. So watch that. I do. It's very weird because they are showing me that it's very difficult for you to get the last, like the last pieces out. And I don't know if it's like just emotionally heavy for you or what it is, but they do show me it's like hard for you to do this clean sweep. But I do think it's tied to other things. Like this final sweep, this clean sweep is tied to other emotional components besides just selling the house. But you're not, listen, here's one thing to think of. You're not losing your dad when you sell this house. You're not, it's like you still have everything you've ever had with your dad. So don't feel like you're letting go of what you know of your dad. And you're also, there's another funny thing about you is you're a little bit afraid to discover something about him. Like, I don't know if it's like you look at it like discovering something about him that's in you, but there's a little bit of fear of discovery. Does that make sense?
No,
Like
I don't. I can't correlate that with right now. I can't think of.
Okay, well,
anything
there's
else in
something
my
about
head.
discovering. There's like discovering something in his belongings. Discovering. Okay? Do you mind if I ask you a question?
Sure.
Did he have an affair or something when he was younger?
Yeah, I'm sure he cheated on my mom. I mean, yeah.
Okay, it's that type of stuff. It's discovering that. It's like you feeling that again. That's what I'm picking up. It's you feeling that
because
stuff.
that's never bothered me. That's never been my personal issue. Like, and I have no emotional attachment to the house. It's my brother who does.
Okay, but there's something there because I'm picking, like, I wouldn't be picking up affair stuff if there wasn't something there. I mean, just kind of oddly. So even if if you think that you put it to bed, like it doesn't bother you, there has to be some little piece, even if it's anger, right? There has to be some little piece that's still lingering because I would not have picked that up if there wasn't something there.
Oh, how interesting. Okay, I need to think on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it could just be anger or grief or, something that is like, okay, if I can just like if you had been angry and you didn't even know it, right? Because
I am angry. I am angry that I'm having to deal with all of this. I'm angry that my brother is making it difficult when I have to be the big girl in the situation and figure stuff out. So the anger you're feeling, I am very angry about it.
Yeah. Well, it's not the first time you've been angry.
No, it's not.
And it will be
angry. Right, exactly. But I think that that's part of the thing. And so I would just, look at how can I read this stuff is because I can I've been there. I can relate. I know what it feels like. That's why I can read this stuff. But I would just be very comfortable and just be like, okay, I am really pissed, and just feel that this moon that we have right now is perfect. Feel that, just feel it, just do everything you can physically to just get rid of it or let it process. Maybe some of it will go, maybe not all of it. That's okay, but just recognize it. And then, and I would even like postpone. Well, no, that doesn't feel right. But just in the next few days, I just want you to feel it and just kind of be in a rage. Do what you have to feel that anger and just kind of let some of it go. And if you have to write a letter to your brother and say whatever he's being, do it. You don't have to mail it.
Right.
There's power
just to get it out.
Yeah, just to get it out. But I do see the highlight of this is I do see once that house is sold, you're going to be back in your happy life.
Okay, good, because I need that.
Yeah, you'll be there. It is kind of, it's one of those life lessons that we're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Never easy.
No, but also they're wanting you to recognize the gift for what it is. So I don't know if it's like just like a gift in terms of financial gift, but there is a gift in this process of you handling the assets. There is a gift in that. So recognize that also. Recognize the gift that you have the capacity to do this, right? You have the capacity to do this. Not everybody does.
Okay.
And True. You will look back at this and be aware of your capacity.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a power move.
Okay.
I think it's very much a power move. And it's interesting that she is the one handling it and not the brother. There's strength in that. There's of your sense of like your competency, and that
Yes.
you're that rather than him.
And you're fair, right? Like, I know that it's kind of funny. Like, I do know that you're fair, but I also see that you're pissed. And so part of you was like, well, because I'm doing this, you kind of like want to decrease the fairness. But your overall, your general way of moving through the world is you are fair.
That is very true. I try to be.
Yeah, this situation is definitely pushing it a little bit, because I think that you would like some compensation for what because of what's going on. But you're a fair and you're a hard worker.
Two of my things: fair and hardworking.
Yeah,
These are
no,
good.
this is good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, let me pull. Oh, good, our plumber's here. Hallelujah, praise Jesus. Let me pull a card for you. Hallelujah. How many times a day do I say that? Hallelujah.
I'm guessing more than one.
More than once. And thankfully so, right? That we get to
Oh,
say.
yeah.
Okay, I love this card. Angel of Success. Woo. Angel of Success. So really focus on the success that you've had in life, that people see you as successful. You're going to continue being successful, but do come up with some goals for the future, like that you can bring everybody, all the people, beings, that dogs, cats, animals that are running into the past. I want you to really think about, this is what I want by the time, oh geez, 3 minutes left. By the time December rolls around, this is what we're going to have. So I really want you to start putting some focus, like one thing, this is what we're going to have in our future.
Okay.
And kind of steer people's directions or thought process. So,
I like.
Okay, I'm just going to say for everybody listening, grab hold of this energy, Angel of Success. Our caller definitely has it.
Yes.
I love it for her, but I'm going to say each one of us become aware of how we're successful in life and capitalize on that. And know that the more that we are aware of our successes, the more they come to us.
Yeah, I could not agree more.
Yes.
Well,
Okay.
thank you, ladies, for your time today.
Thank you, caller.
Thank you. We love callers. So if there's anybody who wants to get a reading, give us a call next week. We love callers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. This has concluded our show. This went fast.
It went really fast. Those callers are good. Okay. Okay, so you can find out more about me at pollywirum.com. Read my blogs there, or Your Tango, or Eden. And psychic development classes, that's always available, or small group coaching. Kristen,
Yes.
where can they learn more about you?
Website, garagepilates.net. You can follow me on Instagram at Garage Pilates. Polly and I, you can follow this radio show at truth.wellness.psychic. You can follow Polly on Instagram, Polly Wirum. And yeah.
Okay, do you want to pull a card? Do you want to pull a card for the week? We've got
Do we have a
2 minutes left.
1
minute left. Go, Kristen, go. No pressure. No
goodness.
pressure. The full moon is illuminating the card. Oh, nice. Maybe that's that bipolar love.
The bipolar love. It's the Pisces. Yes. I feel like that is an indication that things are going to go up and down, and you need to focus on the love. Just hone in on the positivity and how good it feels to be with people and with good thoughts.
Love it. I love it. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And we will be here next week with more adventures. And also, if people have questions, you can also just email us and we'll answer the questions on air.
Yes.
So thank you so much. Blessings, blessings. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You're listening to Truth, Wellness, and Psychic Adventures with Kristen and Polly, only on LA Talk Radio.